All right. Welcome back to Dynasty Daddies, boys. Today we got
Episode 2.
we got episode 2. We got me, Matt, we got Marty, we got Steve, we got our guest Hugo.
Yo, yo, yo. Can't wait to be a Dynasty Daddy finally, Steve.
Wow. 2 weeks after I'm no Dynasty Daddy. Foot in the ground, tear down his face. But hey, we're all here. We're ready to talk some fantasy. Best draft we've ever had in terms of fun, people together. So we're coming off a high right now.
Yeah, welcome Hugo. Crazy draft, lots of trades that happened there. So I think we're all getting pretty excited that it's getting closer. It's almost time.
The amount of draft picks that were traded, like pre-draft, it blew me away. Everyone was engaged. Mr. Berrigan has a secret office right there in the front of his house where deals were done. Like, Steve, you got a deal done well, you were talking about one. I went and got a deal done, but very active, all of us.
I actually left the office. Once I saw like the little used towel rag and a bottle of lotion next to it, I was like, I don't know if this is the kind of office I think it is.
That whole timeout situation was hated upon before it was agreed to join part of the league. And now I think a lot of people were using it as an advantage to make trades. So I think it was a good addition.
Do you guys think we need the timeouts going forward? Do you think I thought the on the clock time was enough to make trades personally, but what do you guys think?
Honestly, if you want to maybe consider like shortening the time, I would understand that. But honestly, I don't think it really added too much time to the draft, and it gave people enough time to work out a deal. So I don't think it was a hindrance in any sort of way. So I don't know what you guys think, but I thought it was.
I agree.
Good.
It wasn't a hindrance either because we were all together and you could bang it out. And it was either going to happen really fast or it wasn't. Those are the kind of deals where we were like agreeing to like make a trade if certain draft picks went the way they did, and that's how they got done quick.
I will say one thing too. If it is something that we do continue to do, I think maybe having people join the draft in like Zoom, so that way they know what's happening and what's going on with the timeout. So that way you're not kind of left in the dark. I mean, I don't know if Vinny knew or not about how things were unfolding, but it might be beneficial for them to know why things are being
or be able to jump in and do like a counter to it or whatever it may be. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
That's just so everyone's in the loop and everyone knows what's happening. But I'm assuming he was aware once it got timed out, someone's probably trying to do a trade. So
I was telling people in the chat, so like when we were doing trades, someone's using a timeout. Yeah, I thought it went well. I was thinking that it would be too hectic or whatever, but honestly, having owners use both, like each owner using a timeout is good because then not everyone. It's just like we've just been living too many timeouts. But honestly, only 3 trades get done, so it didn't take up too much more time. What was the draft, like an hour? So it's not bad.
That's fine. I mean, it's already such a short draft, anyways. An hour is like nothing for that. I feel like.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So it's a good addition. But yeah. Thanks for hosting, Alex. It was a great time. Always look forward to draft day and one of the best days of the year. So,
great host and great at bats and wiffle ball, man. Crushed it.
Yeah,
only one to hit a home run, man. Shout out.
He needs a PED test. He knew this was coming for weeks. Amy told me she would see him up at midnight, just edge of bed, just bicep curling. He's like, I need this. I need this.
One thing I know about playing sports with Alex is he is willing to put his body on the line to win, just like he did in wiffle ball when he ate shit sliding into home. Or was that a slide or was that just him falling over? I don't know.
All I saw was heart, boys. All I saw was heart.
It was heart, a lot of heart.
Well, let's get right into it. So today, I mean, we'll be talking about a lot of different things, power rankings being one of them. But I'll let you kind of steer us in the right direction here, Matt.
Yeah, so we'll talk about just some quick hits for like recent news, like big things in the NFL and how what we think on it, and then we'll jump into power rankings from there. Just kind of jump into how every team looks moving forward for Dynasty. The big pick in the long run, not just this year. So then we'll go from there, and then should be a good one.
Yeah, I think the biggest news is definitely the Jonathan Taylor one. I mean, there's been a lot of unfolding stuff over the last week on that, and like if you want to start us off, Matt, with you obviously having the player and just thoughts. I want a 0 to 10 concern level before you say anything.
Concern is at maybe a 6. I think ultimately
pretty fucking high. It's pretty fucking
It is.
high.
It's high. It's high. It's
Pretty
but,
low if you ask me.
I don't know. He's gonna end up playing. And then I saw Rappaport reported today that there's multiple teams that are willing to trade for him and willing to pay him. So he's their best offensive player. You have to you have to pay him if you want to keep him. So he's doing it in his contract year. So it's an interesting move. But yeah, a little nervous. But ultimately, if he gets traded and puts in a better spot, I'd be happy with that. But I think ultimately he's not going to get moved, and he'll still end up just playing. Maybe they'll agree to like a, I don't know, 11 million deal or something like that, just to get him over his franchise, just like Saquon did. But who knows? We'll see.
I'm with you, Hugo. I think that concern level has to be way higher. I mean, you're thinking about this is a guy that even last year, no contract issues, nothing, had a down year. He still was bothered by that ankle somehow a year later, had surgery in the offseason for it. I don't know if he's the number one running back, healthy, no drama aside. Now it's like a lot of he said, she said. Could he sit out? Is he going to get traded? Like, I'm curious of what you think and what everybody thinks his percentages, chances are of actually playing week 1. I think they got to be less than 50.
Yeah,
I mean,
50 or less.
Yeah, I the same things were being said about Saquon, and things kind of changed pretty quickly there. So there's still a lot of time for him to work out a deal and figure something out over there. So I find that I'm not too concerned until we start getting a little bit closer to week 1. But I don't know what you think, Matt.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy that was a young question, RB1 2 years ago before his, last year. Obviously, kind of like a bust year with his ankle injury, but he's going to get paid. If he doesn't, then he's going to get traded. Someone's going to be willing to move for him, dude. He's a stud. He can do it all. So I'm not concerned. Am I concerned in the short term? Sure, but not enough for me to like, oh, I need to get rid of him type deal. I drafted Evan Hull in the draft, the rookie. So worst comes to worst, if he doesn't play, I got a guy who might get the touches. I'm not confident in Deion Jackson. So, and then Zach Moss just broke his arm. So, I don't know. I did prepare for it in the draft. I think I drafted him earlier probably than I was thinking originally before that news came out, and so I prepared for it. But I'm not
Do
worried.
you want him to be traded?
Depends on the situation. I like him in Indy just because I think he's going to be the bell cow there, but also Anthony Richardson being there, definitely going to take some touchdowns away from him. I think Anthony Richardson's going to run the ball a lot. So if he gets put into a situation where there's less touchdowns being taken away from him, I'd like that.
More read option?
Yeah.
I think lastly to wrap that one up, always get to draft a handcuff. I'll always vouch for it.
Yeah. So I took Hall. And then other news, just to kind of, since we're talking about running backs and drama and injuries and stuff, well, Seahawks situation is kind of interesting right now. Marty, you care to talk about that since you got Walker?
Yeah. I mean, I have Kenneth Walker, obviously. He's dealing with a groin injury is what they're saying right now. A lot of concern with him playing preseason, but week 1 jeopardy is definitely a thing. He might not play week 1, but it seems like all the concern right now is that he's not going to be playing for preseason, which isn't, I mean, it stinks that he's not going to be out there getting touches, but at the same time, I mean, he'll be ready to go. But then Chardonnay too, I think he's dealing with a shoulder injury is what I was hearing. And it seems like there's still a lot of uncertainty on him as well, but who knows? Free agent running back pool might be a place that Seattle looks right now while both of them are hurt, but hopefully they will come back pretty early in the season.
Yeah, I think you're just lucky it's happening this early before even the first preseason game, and I don't think unlike Matt, you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, my concern level is pretty low. It sucks that I might be without Ken Walker week 1 when I'm against Vince, and I could use him in a
0 to 10
matchup, but
0 to 10 concern level.
There's a 3.
All right.
That's fair. It doesn't seem like they're giving any definite timeline, so with that, it's probably not. They'll probably be back week 1, but it's still an interesting story. So
yeah,
always is when there's players going down early.
They're probably not going to be using Walker too much in preseason, anyways. He's the guy right now, and I know Chardonnay is obviously going to be getting a lot of touches too. But no rush. Just let him heal up before week 1, and hope maybe he's out there. If not, give him a little bit more time. But it's like I said, it stinks for fantasy purposes, but I'd rather him be healthy the whole season than, dealing with a lingering injury.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I don't think there's been any other like groundbreaking news. Kelsey's addicted to getting into fights in practice, so I don't think it's gonna actually stop anything. I mean, Andy Reid was kind of joking about it, but I can't see that actually leading to anything. And then the only other thing, I mean, the new sleeper app sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I've been
So
playing around
fast.
with it a little bit, but it's
Not easy.
yeah.
To take
I-
some getting used to.
So,
So
I
better
guess
than
we'll-
is that
ESPN.
it? Is that it for news?
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll move into jump into the power rankings. We'll talk about each player's draft through that too, and we'll pull up the number 10 team here for you guys. Curious what people think. Who people think is the number 10 team?
Is it even a discussion here?
No.
Like, let's be real. He's gonna listen. He's gonna be
Somebody's-
like, "Oh, they're already like thinking it without saying it." I mean, this is the full-on rebuild that we're about to see here, folks. And B Money, number 10, right? Wow, what a job you got ahead of you.
Pulling up his. Why can't I pull up his team to this?
Marty,
Yeah,
you
Brennan,
wanna
I think you're going to be the underdog of this league here, so hopefully you can use that as motivation to come back with a vengeance. But it's going to be an uphill battle that
Oh, there he is.
we all see here.
I think the toughest part for Brendan's rebuild, right, is I mean, Hugo could probably touch on it more, but it's not like, and he got some good picks from Marty, but it's not like he got a ton of picks to totally rebuild around. Where I think there's a good potential. This isn't just like a rebuild for a year. I think like Brendan's looking at possibly a couple of years here of like bad, like top bottom three team here. And he doesn't even have his own first next year. Fucking Vinny has it, like every other first he has. So I think he's in a little bit of a tough spot. Like if he has a tough year next year, he's gonna get. I mean, he's got a couple of them, but let's say we're looking at. I mean, the hope will come in the power rankings as we go, but we would think Marty and Vinny's teams are going to be decent teams. He's got some good first coming up in 2025. He's got more draft picks and stuff, but he's really only got the two first next year, and they might be back end first. And then when you look at just his team in general, I mean, if you were to look at his players, his starting lineup, I mean, the best player he probably has that you're excited about is probably maybe Judy and maybe Damian Pierce, other than Mahomes. We obviously know he's like a top guy, but Pierce was a 5th round running
Crowder.
back in the real life, right? So when you think about that, I mean, Algier was 5th round too. So the teams themselves seen those as like pretty replaceable. So there's nothing if the Texans suck and there's a good running back they want next year, there's nothing really stopping them. And I mean, Matt's got his cursor over Jackson here. I mean, he just picked up Jackson the other day, and he's in his
Plugs him
starting
in the starting
lineup.
spot. I was talking to him earlier. It sounds like he's kind of banking on that situation for like Taylor to leave or something. He's like, "Oh, Jackson's gonna be the guy." I'm like, "If that's what you're hoping for, dude, then
His
you're in
RB2
trouble."
situation is very scary.
Yeah, I did like some of his picks though in this draft here. For running backs because he needed that. I like Chase Brown a lot.
Yeah.
He's in an interesting spot now, especially with Travion Williams getting hurt today too. So I would think he's the number 2. Mixon's coming down each year. He's not Mixon of 3 years ago. So he took a pay cut this year. He's going to be probably still be their bell cow, I would think, but they're definitely going to work on the rookie. So be fun to see. I don't know if they'll be able to start him.
Do we think Odell has a bounce back year, or is he just at that wash point at this point?
He's going to get hurt. I would give him like 4 or 5 weeks. I'll be surprised he plays longer than that. But it's not anything. This is not new to anyone. We know Brendan's tanking. It's not a coincidence that the year following the remove like a last place punishment, kid leans into tanking. He's meant for it. Loves it.
Hopefully, I mean, he traded for Russell too. That was kind of an interesting move when he had Mahomes. Maybe
Yeah, that
he's
was pretty surprising. Geno Smith had a way better year last year and just got a big contract extension.
yeah.
Did you offer that to him, Matt, or did he offer
Yeah.
that to you? How'd that come about?
I offer it to him. So yeah, if you're willing to go, move down a pick, just get the number 5 quarterback from last year. I don't think he'll be number 5 again, but who knows? That they just added JSN to that offense. I can only imagine he's going to get at least another 30 touchdowns like he did last year. Gonna be fun offense.
What's Ronald Jones suspended for? I noticed that little tab. He get popped?
PEDs, yeah, because he sucks. Dude. He's trying to get better.
All
All right, we'll move on to number
right, so I
9
can't
here.
take on it.
Unless you guys want to say anything else about Brennan's number 10
I think-
ranked team here.
I think that was 3 times as long as it needed to be.
All right, we got number 9 here. It's gonna be none other than Dylan. Steve, kick us
Yeah.
off.
The former
Yeah.
champ.
Yeah, I
This is your
mean,
boy.
he has the former champ, but I mean, could be a whole nother podcast, right? But I mean, if there's gonna be a lucky champion, it's probably gonna be Dylan. I mean, you look at his winning percentage and all that stuff. I mean, his team right now, he's definitely the trade horniest out of all of us. I mean, this team could look entirely different by week 1, depending on his horniest level and at what time of night you text him. But he's got some boomer bust potential with it. I still think he's relying on a couple of really old veterans that may not give him much, in Cooks and Thielen, Singletary, as well as a handcuff. Schultz, I mean, we don't really know how he's going to be in like that prime role on a rookie quarterback that might struggle. Flowers in the starting lineup. I mean, Akers might have that bounce back year. I'm sure Hugo has some opinions on him being his former guy, but I don't know. It's just very boomer bust, and there's just it's leaning a lot on youth, where it same thing as like Alex has been through this too previously, is like when you rely on a lot of young guys, there's some growing pains there. They don't just start right off hot. So I don't know. And I mean, he had that big trade this offseason for Kyler and Dobbins, but I mean, them getting through a full season's a pipe dream at this point. So let's kind of see where it lands, but I can't see him pushing much further than this.
Yeah.
You guys got anything else there?
Yeah, I think him being 9 makes sense. He's definitely in it for the long run here with or trying to, still build, rebuild. He's got a lot of young guys, his veteran guys I'm not too excited about.
Definitely excited for Addison for him. I know this is a guy that he hyped up and was really talking about for a little while. I thought he would go Quentin Johnson, but hey, when you're opposite Justin Jefferson, I think this guy's gonna get open. And as for the Cam Akers, like you were saying, Steve, I think him and freaking Cam Akers and Sean McVay do not get along. Like they've said it publicly, like, hey, we work together and stuff like that. For him to be a feature bell cow, I hope it happens for him. I hope he gets Dylan plenty of points. I'm the one that traded him to him, obviously. I drafted him. I was done with Cam Akers. So good luck to Dylan with him. But should Dobbins and Kyler Murray get healthy, I think he's got a little something here with the team.
I think the other thing too we forgot to mention is that, I mean, he did make that big trade with Brian at the last hour, which essentially boiled down to him trading a 2025 first for Max Mayer at 209. I don't know if he's going to end up being a player that you really want to move a future first for. He got some thirds and fourths in there too, but
Good call, Steve.
if you're Dylan, you kind of want to just keep those firsts. He has Dolchicks, I'm pretty sure, and Schultz at tight end, so it's like he traded a first for possibly a backup tight end at that point. I mean, I don't know if off the table he's better than those two guys. So sometimes the trade horniness kind of gets him a little bit, but I mean, he did get Bryce Young later than probably expected, considering he was the first overall pick in the real life draft. So something to build around quarterback wise if Kyler doesn't work out and Tua keeps scrambling his brain and retires. So Marty, Matt, you guys got anything you want to add into it? Or do you want to move on?
No, not really. It's his team is definitely needs some work. So let's go ahead and move on.
I like this draft though. I like this picks. Addison, Flowers, and Bryce Young. Those are all high points for sure in the draft. So
Yeah,
well done. But yeah, number 9 there. We got 8 minutes left on this recording, so we're likely gonna have to spill into another here. But so we'll move to number 8, see how quick that goes, and then go from there. But with that, at number 8 is going to be Alex's team, and I'll let Hugo talk about that a bit here. Kick us off.
Alex, we got you at number 8 in the power rankings here. I think you have a good young team that is on the rise. You used to have no running backs to now having 2 young guys that I think should be counted on this year. Rashad White, I know he hasn't proved it yet, but I hope he could be a 3-down back because he is an explosive player. I remember him in college and he was awesome to watch. And Isaiah Pacheco, obviously, if healthy, he was a big part of the Chiefs playoff run. And you got something there in those two running backs. Chris Olave, I love the man. I think he's going to be possibly a top 10 receiver this year. That is like the player I expect to be your best player this coming year. Him and McLaurin are a good 1-2 punch. So I think you just still have to fill out the roster a little bit more to really compete with the rest of us in the league. But I think you're improving. You're still heading in the right direction. You had some picks this year that I liked. So I think your trajectory is pretty nice, Alex. Just fill out your bench, get some other players. But you're on the way.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this was a good draft for Alex. I think he is definitely, in it for the long run too. Here, just getting a bunch of young guys. Still depth wise, you still need a little bit of work here. Hopefully, a chain hits off for you there. Maybe he'll be the lead guy. Yeah, that's my thoughts there.
Yeah, I think the difference between Alex's team and Brendan's team, a big difference is that I feel like Alex has a lot of players that he can actually build a future around. I think Brendan is still kind of missing those pieces right now. So I agree. Olave. I mean, the quarterback situation isn't great. I hope Ritter does well for the Falcons.
I'm
Alex.
happy he got his guy. He got his quarterback. So it should be exciting for him.
Yeah, hopefully. I know Alex has been looking for a quarterback for a while now. Hopefully, this is Ritter is his guy that can actually give him some points. But I guess we'll see. I'm kind of tied to the hip with Alex on this one here with Drake London a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see how he does. But
Yeah. It's like you guys said. I mean, his draft has definitely gotten way better. He's got so many young guys with promise, right? People that are growing into roles, like Hugo was saying, as opposed to Brendan, where he's got some guys that like could be out of the league in a couple of years, or you just don't know. But I think the one knock on Alex's team that keeps him from getting up higher, I think you guys talked about the depth, but also he's in kind of a similar situation to Brendan, where it's just like, if you have a potential to be a bottom team, like you got to have some pick potential. And I don't think he has a first rounder until 2026. So it's
Yeah,
like if things are tough for him, it's like he's got to have to really wait for it to get better there. I mean, he doesn't pick, the highest he picks is a second round in 2025, right? So he's got, I mean, a lot of thirds in 25, which is nice, but I mean, there's not that top tier talent coming his way draft wise unless there's trades. So
yeah, it puts him at that tough spot where it's like, do I keep fighting for a win now, or do I kind of sink back and try and sell some players to get draft picks? And I feel like this is the boat that Alex has been in for a while, and it's a tough one to get out of.
Yep.
Just got to stick to a decision and keep going with it. And I think he's doing a good job just building.
I think we're probably gonna have to switch to that other
meeting.
Zoom pretty quick.
Yeah,
you
it's
can
4
get through
minutes.
number 7.
I think the last thing quickly about this was just, it's like what you just touched on. We haven't really talked about it much, but I think that's just like the beauty of Dynasty that we're realizing. I mean, we're quite a few years in at this point, is that it's kind of like almost like real sports, where it's like you don't want to be in the middle, right? Where if you're in the middle and you're not pushing for a championship and you don't have a ton of picks, you kind of have to like pick your decision, like Hugo was saying, and go with it, right? Like you either like think you have a chance to win it, and then you're making like win now moves. It's hard to like rebuild and stay competitive at the same time, right? So you almost have to like make that decision and go with it, because if you're stuck in these middles, it's just like you could be in the same place for a couple of years.
Yeah, well said. So we got about 3 minutes left.
can
Yeah,
do
you
it.
can
Let's
get
do
through
it.
7.
All right. I mean, it's gonna be. I don't want to rush though, but
Seven's you, Matt.
yeah, that's. Go ahead, Marty. This is you. You can kick off on mine. I'm not gonna talk my own team.
Yeah, do you want to just pull it up here? We can break it down. But I think we all kind of had you around the same spot here, Matt. I guess for me, for your team, there's a lot of bright spots for sure. I mean, I love Pollard picking up Debo for me. I think that's a good move as long as he can stay healthy. And then I guess when you kind of go further down the lineup there, I guess that's where my concern started to come up here and why I kind of ranked you further down on the power ranking here. 2 Washington running backs there in the flex. I know Gibson and Robinson there, but I don't know. I think depth was part of the reason why I kind of put you where you are in my ranking here. There's like I was saying, I think there's a lot of bright spots with your team, and I think hopefully Zeke lands somewhere soon to give you another player there. But I guess I just had a lot of concerns with the starting lineup, and I think at this point here, it's going to place you on the bottom half of the team here or the league. But I still think you'll be a competitive team here. I think your team is, significantly better than the bottom two, and I think it just may be an uphill battle for the playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Marty. If I can chime in quickly here, I think Matt is kind of a start of a new tier with this. I think the biggest thing is like when you look at his starting lineup, that's actually my issue, not necessarily the depth, is that for him to make the playoffs, you need the best case scenario from all these players. You need Swift to fit in well with the Eagles, stay healthy. You need Debo to somehow pick up where he was a couple years ago, despite McCaffrey being there and other target competition. You need Ingram to keep doing what he's doing. Mike Williams not get hurt. Hollywood to do okay without Kyler. And for both those Washington guys to hit off, and Pollard, he's never been the workhorse guy. So you're needing everybody to have like career years to have a good playoff run, and I think it's just really hard to bank on that.
That was very well said, Steve. I couldn't agree anymore. As for like your draft, that's what I'll focus on your team, Matt. I like that you picked up Stroud. I'm a Stroud believer. I also think what Marty's saying is right. Your flex could be an issue. And I just think you need even more talent on your team, and I think you'd like to have more talent on your team as well, especially on the bench. I know JT is like down there at the bottom for you, but I think you had a good draft, and hopefully those players pop for you. But like Steve was saying, you need everything to go right for you.
I mean, as long
Oh,
as
it goes for
everything
everybody,
works out with Taylor, and if Zeke can find a good home, like I said, I think you'll be a top half team. But as of right now, I think there's just a lot of concern with the starting lineup. So
yeah, it does go that way with everybody, but I think your range of outcomes is just wider for people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, an AJ Brown worst case scenario is probably like 10th, 15th wide receiver. I mean, a worst case scenario for Swift is he's not healthy at all. Like Marquise Brown could be the 30th wide receiver. Like your range is just bigger than some.
We're about to get cut off. That was power ranking through 7, guys.
We'll start a new one here in a minute here. We'll see you guys in a bit.
jumping to 6.